Why? Just got back from a walk with the dog. Why does the world appear to be real? Not only real, but very real. If it isn't real. So many, especially Buddhist teachers, tell you that the world is just truly not real. It's unreal. It's a dream. There's no way to couch that. If it's a dream and it's not real, that changes everything. But if it isn't real, why does it seem real? Why does it appear to be real? It's almost like there's a movie reel going all the time. In Sanskrit, there's actually a word for that, and it's called prabda. Prabda, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And it means the film or the movie reel of destiny. And there's this movie reel going on, and it seems like the things that you're seeing in the movie are real. That there's actually a dog, that there's actually me here talking. But actually, there's only light or air or space or whatever. It's all one substance. There isn't an individual identity within that that's actually real. So how does that work? Why do I believe it's real? Why does the soul, so to say, take credit for what is essentially not real? In Hinduism, there really is no free will. And certain certain forms of Christianity, they don't believe in free will either. But really, the idea of doer-ship is at the center of the reason why things seem real. If consciousness can convince you that you did something, whether it be something undesirable or something that was desirable, then it has you. So along this reel, this big sheet of endless frames, like frames in a film strip, going out in front of the light, like that. There's something where you take hold of one of those images and you grab onto it, and then through the brain and nervous system and the mind body, there's this condensation of what's there, and it comes through in language. And once you have the belief of the word, that's why in yoga they say that sound is basically bondage, because from sound there is words, there's language, and then once there's an object that is a word, then I feel like there's something that's there, that's real, that's permanent, when really it's just a moment that I grabbed hold. It's like if you took your fist into Lake Michigan and you went down like that and you try to grab the water. When you pull your hand up like that, it's just gone. You can't grab the water, And it's the same thing with consciousness. Yet there's this condensation of this film strip and these points, and usually it has to do with, a regret. That's how the ego gets you. Hey, or what they call the reactive mind in Scientology. Hey, remember that thing you did? And it keeps reminding you, oh yeah, okay, I guess there must be something there that's real. And it's not that you should be irresponsible and just do whatever you want to. It's just that whatever you do, or whatever you appear to do, is just images on this screen of consciousness. And it's only when you grab hold of part of it and say, I am that thing, I'm this thing, I'm this thing, I am this thing, that it appears to be real. If it wasn't for that, it just simply wouldn't seem real to you. You would see that it was all the light. It was all one substance. It was all like sea breeze just coming off of a boat like that, and then it's gone. But because we grab hold of part of it, we believe that it's real. So, I've said I use words like the devil or whatever, but I use them loosely, or I use words like Satan to describe narcissists, because they're the mouthpiece or the advocates for the illusion. They want to constantly remind you of your your identity, and say, here it is, 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 here it is. No, you can't. Just forget. It's always going to be there. You always did that thing. I have that thing on you. That evidence is there. And the minute you try to expose that and uncover that, there they are. But there's another one of them. There's many narcissists. So, but there really is only one. So, in saying that there's no free will, I mean, it's just, that's a tricky concept, and I didn't say that I believed that, or I don't believe it. But the simple fact is, until you identify with some part of this consciousness and give it a word and say, this is me, or I am that, or I did that, and you say, I am this part, or I'm this piece, I'm this little droplet in the ocean, instead of saying, I am the ocean. Until that process goes on, there simply isn't an I there, and there simply is no distinction. And you'll see that it's not real. I mean, and it's tough to use language, because it's like, what does the word real mean? That's still just using that word, but I think the point is, there is no reason to believe that the events that happen are that they are what they appear to be, only because you had the thought. The thought is not the thing. The map is not the territory. But we become so accustomed to believing in thoughts that we don't see it. So the world appears real to you because you're identified with the belief that there is two instead of one. If you could see that it was all one, you would see that it's like when you have a dream, you don't sit there and say in the dream, like, okay, there's this character, but then when you wake up, you're like, okay, but that was all just part of that dream world. It was all just that imagination. You don't say, yeah, that person, really exists, and I went and visited them. Some people say that, but I mean, most people are aware that that's just something that your mind has created. So it comes back to the sense of identity and the sense of I. And the whole process of spirituality is to deconstruct the sense of I, which is the ego. As long as you believe you're doing something, you will always be trying to understand why it's not the way it should be. If you are the doer, then you're going to do bad things, you're going to do things wrong all the time, and you're constantly going to be frustrated. And you'll constantly be believing that it's real. So the reason it appears to be real, to conclude, is just that there's a thought. However that happens, nobody knows why that's there, but there's a thought that arises in your brain that says, through language, the condensation of consciousness into language, that says, I did this, there is an I did this, me. He did that, you. If there wasn't that, you would just see everything as one.